Ladies and gents, you are very welcome back. We're a couple of short weeks out from Abs Pro 2023. Abs Pro 5 Champion of Champions. We have one of our returning competitors, Josh Edwards, who took the challenge at very late notice for 2022. He was playing an absolute blinder coming into deadlifts at that meet, and you can go back and watch that stream on the Abs Powerlifting YouTube page, but unfortunately didn't have the performance he wanted. However, he has been putting together a very serious track of training over the past year. I know it's been a little while since you competed, Josh. I'd imagine we're going to see a bigger, tougher, stronger Josh Edwards than we ever have. But let me bring it over to you, Josh. Introduce yourself to the people watching at home. Tell us who you are and what got you into powerlifting.
Right, so I'm Josh Edwards. I'm from Wales, if you can't tell by my accent. I was a semi-professional rugby player for the majority of my teenage life, and I had a pretty bad injury. And I always loved being in the gym, so couldn't run or anything. Started benching, anything like that. And then I remember there was a comp in Cornapandy Community College with the BDFPA in like 2012. I thought I'd give it a go. Always been quite strong, and then since then, that's all I know.
It took like a life of its own. You've just kept doing it.
It definitely did. Yeah, changed my life.
Well, even looking at your scores across open powerlifting, we can see as time has gone on, you've got better and better and better. You've had steady improvement across the board and then accumulating an excellent performance up until the unfortunate callus ripping at the Abs Pro. You then competed a couple of weeks later at the Irish PO and did actually have a pretty decent day out there. But rolling things forward, I'd imagine being an athlete, the natural progression into powerlifting and getting stronger was just a natural jump for you. And seeing that you are obviously quite good at it. In the time you've been competing and all the years, do you actually have a favorite competition that you've lifted at?
Yeah. My favorite competition was in 2017 in Thisted in Denmark. Represented Team GB for British powerlifting, and I think it was the Junior Euros. I had a shot at gold if I had made my third deadlift. Same old story, like four calluses, but come away with a deadlift medal with that. And I think just the whole experience of my first time on a serious international with serious athletes, I'll never forget that. That was my favorite comp.
I think it's when you have those moments at that level, because it's obviously such a huge platform to lift on, to then that I think what ties people into, I want to lift on these grand stages. I want to lift at meets like the Abs Pro, which
Absolutely.
is highly, highly competitive. Now, coming into this year's meet, we know last year, 2022, you actually took the spot, I think, on about 4 weeks out, maybe even less.
And I think it was about 3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, it was like really, really short notice, and there was a real chance you could have run away with the whole thing. So now that you've actually had time to train for it, you've seen what the environment's like, you've felt it, the fast pace we keep on the platform, the incredibly high standards, naturally lifting out of equipment. A lot of super strong guys don't normally lift out, having to walk out squats, deadlift on a stiff bar and a Lico bar. Do you have specific goals for Abs Pro 2023?
Yeah, I'd like to get on the podium. I think that's definitely a realistic goal. I want to total as close as I can to 1,000 kilos. I don't think that's too far off, and I want to do it in sleeves as well. I was debating doing in reps, but they just never really appealed to me. I love watching people squat in reps, but for myself, because I've come from an IPF background and walking out squats, stiff bar deadlifts, everything like that. That's how I like to train. That's how I like to compete. But I'm just looking forward to doing it with the full prep behind me this time. I know I was prepping for the Irish Pro last year, but different environment completely. Great comp. I'm not saying any different, but ABS is probably the highest standard comp, even compared to the Euros and everything. I'm just looking forward to actually being prepared for it now.
100%. And I think it's great to hear that you're coming in and you're pushing for the podium as well, because I do realize, and I think many people listening will realize, there's a lot of lifters that just want to lift on the stage that is the Abs Pro, and just having the invitation is a big enough deal for them this year.
Yeah, that's massive. That's massive. And I'm eternally grateful for it. Even last year, even like I remember having the message off Jay, and I was through the roof. Like it was amazing. So even to be considered to be on a platform with the people like Luke Tallman, Davidson, Nicholas Dupree, Chris Prue. It's amazing, you know. But I think although I'm looking forward to just, you know, the experience and everything about it, I wouldn't be me if I didn't want to run away with it and win it. You know what I mean?
I love that, man. I think that's the best way to think of anything. And as I said, looking at last year, taking the meet on such short notice, and you were in podium contention up until the deadlift. So I think we're actually in a pretty exciting lead up now in these final couple of weeks. So that brings me to my next question. You mentioned a couple of names there: Luke Tolman, Dave Richardson, Chris Pugh. These guys, Chris's first time over with us at the Abs Pro as well. Is there anyone in particular that you're looking forward to competing against, or is there anyone you're like, well, as long as I beat him, I've had a good day?
I don't know. There's not real rivals or anything. I don't even know. I like to go against Luke. I got a lot of time for Luke. I think he's great, and obviously we've come through the IPF together as well. I've known Luke for a long time. So I like going head to head with him, especially like I said, because we've got that similar background. Same with Dave Richardson as well. I got a lot of time for both of them, and I think they push me to be better as well. I haven't really had much of a competitive sort of spark in me prior to ABS last year because I was just competing against myself. But now I've got boys who are actually pushing me. It's made my training so much better.
And both those guys are fantastic ambassadors, not only for the Abs series and the Abs Pro, but also for the sport in general. Luke is just a powerhouse, and he pushes himself so hard to improve. And I think Dave is just such a clinician when he's on the platform. His performances are always very clinical, 8 for 9, 9 for 9. And he's very good at attempt selection. So very excited to have the two of them back, both former champions. So it's going to be excellent to have them duking out, and then yourself in contention as well. Not to mention, there's a whole laundry list. Nicholas Dupree is who I think everybody is looking forward to seeing, and Chris as well coming across. And there's not to take getting away from the whole roster of guys we have there that could potentially be pushing for some big numbers. But with that in mind, do you yourself have any favorite moments in powerlifting? Maybe it's one of these guys, a moment of your own, or is there anything that when you see it, you've seen a video of it, go, that's powerlifting. That's my favorite thing about powerlifting.
Yeah, you remember IPF Worlds in Killeen in Texas? That changed powerlifting for me completely. So prior to then, I was competing with the BDFPA, great federation. I think especially people who were like new into powerlifting and things like that. And I'd only been lifting there, and I'm in an RM whether to join British powerlifting at the time. And I remember watching that, and I thought that's where I want to be. I watched John Hack and Brett Gibbs, and I thought that's the standard I want to lift at. And that's probably my favorite powerlifting video. I could watch it again, like the Who Will Meet again. I could watch it now and feel the exact same about it. Like,
I think everyone has like those handful of moments that they say, like, that's what got me. Because I think people get into the sport for themselves first, but then I think many people have said there's a unique thing about powerlifting in that most of the people that watch it are also people that participate in the sport. Do you have any favorite moments of your own? Was there any moment for you that was like, this was my moment. This is the moment Josh Edwards kind of showed everybody what he was made of?
I think that 400 kilo deadlift last year. Up until that point, I had stepped away from powerlifting for a bit, just through all the lockdowns and things. I sort of not fell out of love there, but I just, because I couldn't get to a gym or anything like that, I took rugby back up again. And I remember having another injury and thought, I'll just get back into powerlifting then. And then I was like, you know, am I going to be as good as I was? Because I've had so much time off and that. And I remember pulling that 400 kilo and sharing it on it and everyone going wild about it. And I thought, like, you know, I'm back now. This is what I do. Like, that's, that was one of my best moments of last year. That was, if not my powerlifting career.
Yeah, it was. It's a savage pull as well. I think that's the one that was sent into a couple of the WhatsApp groups when your name was announced for the Abs Pro on short notice last year. So with that, Josh, that's pretty much all my questions for you. Is there anything you would like to add either to the audience or your fellow competitors coming into Abs Pro this year?
Just good luck to everyone. It's a really high standard competition. Obviously, boys who competed there before will know that. Everyone who's going to be there for their first time, I'd say, do your best. Just soak it in. Just enjoy the day, and just try and fucking murder everyone. Like, just be a savage and just enjoy the day.
Absolutely agree with every word, gang. Abs Pro 2023, an atmosphere and a platform unlike any other in the world. You can catch it live at Abs Powerlifting Club or on our live stream. Check out the Powerlifting Series page on Instagram for more details, but make sure, if you can, get there August 19th, Abs Powerlifting Gym in Dublin. We will see you then.